We have entered an age where Mother Nature is being made obsolete. It's hard to believe because she's responsible for who we are. Every biological system on the earth is dictated by Mother Nature. But there's an industry that wants to shut her down, that wants to own life itself, and now believes that they have the right to medicate us at their will. We are at a critical time, and I can't believe we're here. Growing up and living my whole life in a democratic society, and all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by calls for fascism, communism. This is the path of Agenda 2030. A land where us humans are merely a cog in the wheel. And everything on Earth becomes part of a system dictated by biotechnology. Yesterday, I shared, well, for a few days actually, I shared the preview for Plandemic. And all of a sudden, I was bombarded by people that are supposedly in our frame of mind, meaning choice for vaccines, and meaning that no one has the right to my sovereign body. Yet, they were calling Dr. Judy Mikovits out on being a shill, the controlled opposition. And I could hardly believe my ears. Her testimony is the single best testimony that we have. And I can absolutely relate to her testimony because I live in Biotechville. And how they roll is they bully. That is why people do not speak out. And when I see that coming through in the people that are supposed to be on the side of Mother Nature and medical freedom, I have to wonder who the shills are. Because you have been obviously infiltrated with misinformation. For months, I have been talking about Agenda 2030. And as we have rolled and had our freedoms literally stolen from us, the major player in all of that is biotechnology. That is why we are all under states of emergency. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's why they're keeping us hostage so that they can vaccinate us. That is why in not one of the stages for any of our reopen plans is there, I think the last stage is a consideration for our freedom. We have in Canada, Trudeau coming down and saying that anyone who expresses an aversion to his vaccine mandate could face jail time. So right now, me getting up and speaking could land me in the slammer. When I see people coming in from the inside, it's like the Q movement, PSYOPs. There to take us off the real trail. Right now, we're at war. And this is a war of biotechnology against Mother Nature. A lot of people are putting hope into organizations. And I'm going to tell you about ours in Canada today. Remember I told you a couple of days ago that I sent an email off? Vaccine Impact Canada? Or sorry, Vaccine Choice Canada. Well, I'm horrified because when I first looked into them, I had to remember their name because they changed it. They used to be called VRAN. And I know VRAN when I had my magazine, Organic Lifestyles. When I went 3 days when we're at war right now, we are literally at the worst place we've ever been. And I don't receive a return email. I had to dig back into the little ticker here and remember back to the magazine days. You see, I contacted them several times, never got a response. Never. In fact, I even offered them free advertising and advertorials to support my belief that we all are entitled to medical freedom. So when I didn't get a email back when we are in this state of emergency, I had to really dig through their website. And quite honestly, if they've been at it as long as they have, it's a joke. An absolute joke. And they are not our friends, I can guarantee you. They are a front in order to contain us. I call them the containment boxes. In fact, right before this video, Maxime Bernier, one of his little emails landed in my box. That is the containment box. PPC, all of these supposed leaders who seem to just pop up. When the yellow vest movement started, when people started before the election being very unnerved with the way Canada was going and the fascism that seems to be absolutely not only infiltrated, but making its way into every institution, clearly into our government, and into the propaganda nature of our media. And here we get to this. Thank you, Lorraine, so much for your quick send on this because the timing couldn't be more right. Saskatchewan Herald yesterday. Calls come for Canada to make COVID-19 vaccine mandatory for all citizens. I'm going to read it to you. I've read it through once and I just about jumped out of my skin. You need to settle down. We're going to do it again together. Here we go. As the COVID-19 virus now counts millions of victims worldwide and deaths into the hundreds of thousands, along with making secondary casualty of the global economy, the race to discover and produce a vaccine continues apace around the globe, with a successful vaccine being the world's best chance to stop the virus and return a degree of normality to national and global affairs. However, health analysts are concerned that a large number of badly informed citizens with conservative beliefs, refusing to believe in science and accept vaccinations, could thwart the needed herd immunity that makes a broad-scale vaccination program effective. As a result, calls have come for vaccination, once tested, available, and safe, to be mandatory by Canada's federal government. How could the government regulate the need for mass vaccination? There are two ways the government can make the vaccine mandatory: criminalization or regulation. Criminalization is the harsher of the two methods and would make failure to get the vaccine within a specified period of time a criminal offense. Criminal penalties, including fines, probations, or jail time, could be applied for a failure to obtain vaccination as mandated by public health authorities. In contrast, regulation would not make the failure to get a vaccine a criminal offense, but would include other sanctions, including withholding tax refunds, federal benefits such as child tax, employment insurance, and pension, denying the ability to work and denying a passport, who put others at safe by failing to get vaccinated. Given the balance between the need for public health and personal liberty, the regulatory approach to mandatory vaccination is seen as the more likely response to the public health crisis. For those who fail to have their children vaccinated, the state may have a simpler solution in declaring those children wards of the state, in need of protective services until such time as they are vaccinated, vaccinating those children and returning them to parental care. Similarly, seniors might be denied residency in care homes until such time as they are properly vaccinated. In addition to the COVID-19 pandemic, public health officials have also pointed to the misinformation pandemic causing additional risk to Canadians and global citizens at this difficult time. With conservatives especially susceptible to misinformation and lacking a grounding fact-based science, government may need to take extraordinary measures to ensure the safety of all Canadians. Mandatory vaccinations may constitute an infringement on Canadian Charter of Rights, but such an infringement would be justifiable in a free and democratic society needing to protect its most vulnerable citizens. For those who do not wish to engage in the social responsibility of properly informing themselves, government is likely to step in and ensure public protection and continued social functioning. The extent to which Canada's government is prepared to take strong and timely measures to protect citizens and the economy remains to be seen as the race for a vaccine continues around the globe. Now, if that doesn't scare the shit out of you, it should. This is coming from the lips of biotech and government. Understand that. We are against the biotech industry. They are predicated on managing us, where we have no free thought. People that are not vaccinating generally have and have had very difficult reactions. Doctors don't take us seriously. In fact, I remember when my dad got his vaccine and collapsed in the parking lot leaving the office. And when he went to the hospital, the doctor would not acknowledge it. In fact, I brought it up several times and the doctor would not acknowledge it. How did my dad get better? Well, they were stumped. They wouldn't act on my knowledge. And we treated him with homeopathics. We had to because they did nothing in the hospital. This is a common story. And when I look at vaccine choices, personal stories category, and I see that many, there should be 20,000 by now. And it tells me they're not doing their job and they're not there for us. And as you can see from this article in the Saskatchewan Herald, we're in some serious trouble. We've got to get moving. as I've explained before with Agenda 2030. How did all these stakeholders know what was coming right now? They know because they've been informed. We're being informed with this article how far they're going to go and how prepared they are to even take your children away until you become a proper parent. They are making us diseased unless proven innocent by a vaccine. So when I see the stupidity of people who supposedly support choice going hard at a woman who expressed her truth, worked for biotechnology, developed vaccines, and is telling you how these guys operate like bullies, you can see from this article, they're bullies. You gotta know, we have no time for this shit. It is time to gather, and I mean internationally, because this is an international push. I am terrified with what this means for all of us. Because they're putting it in a framework like it's democratic, like public good overrides. That is centralized power. That is communism, fascism. I don't care what side you swing. The bottom line is it means that the state determines if this happens, we lose sovereignty of our own body. That is not human. That is not humanity. They are removing our humanity. Now I'm going to tell you how far biotech goes and how far the powers that be will go. Because when I got really going on this, in my messenger, I get a lot of message requests, but I didn't even know that category existed. And then I found several hundred. In any case, as I was rolling through, just the other day, I came across a message. Hi, Martine. I'm from an anarchy group in Vancouver. Check out this film and message me. And I thought, when have I ever come across as an anarchist? I'm a woman working out of her house, getting dressed up for the flick. I'm a concerned person. I didn't answer, but I kept a note. See, this is how this rolls, because we are going to be made to look like we're violent, uneducated. And in this paper, you need to be drawn to the fact that they are putting conservatives in general in this box of uneducated people who don't believe in science. Of course, you've seen that argument on the climate change frontier, right? This is where we're going. We need to push forward, and that is what I intend to do. I am going to do it without the input of any pre-existing organization, because from what I can see, we're here right now because they didn't do their job. As far as I'm concerned, they're out. And we should not be relying on anyone who has been involved in the past, just like any of the politicians. They can't be trusted because they're all in on it. Time's a ticking. And so is our medical freedom. the right to our own choice. And I resent, how dare they imply or outright say that we are uneducated, that our personal experience means nothing. If this is the type of government we have, and of course now you can see this is not a Canadian government. This is you know who. This is Bill Gates. This is biotechnology. Not only do they want to own the seeds, they want to own our seed. They want to own our body. They want to have the right to medicate and use their toxic pharmaceuticals. And I'm not going to allow it.